Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. For those who are new, my name is Linda and I'm a product designer from Toronto. For today's video, I want to show you guys two ways I like to improve my UI skills as a product designer. So for these methods, I like to use when I have some downtime during the weekends or after work. It's really a way for me to practice my UI skills without spending too much time and effort on it, but I will say it's very effective. The first way is to copy a design that you really like, whether it's from a design inspiration site like Dribbble or Behance, or a real product. So let me show an example of what I've done and walk you through the process. So what you do is take a screenshot of the design that you like and upload it onto Figma. So in this case, I'm using Airbnb as an example. I chose Airbnb because I really love the product and their designs. So I took a screenshot of their home listing screen with all the information and popped it into Figma, or any design tool that you like as well. So before you start copying the design, I like to write down the aspects of the design that I like. And I do this to be more aware of what is done well within the design, which I can maybe apply later on to my own designs in the future. So here I mentioned what I liked about the screen, and that is with the amount of information that is shown, it is still very visually appealing to look at. The hierarchy of information makes sense to me. I really love the pink accent color used throughout the screen, and the use of rounded corners makes it very friendly to use. So with that in mind, I'm going to start copying the design. Once you have the screenshot uploaded into Figma or any design tool, I'll resize the image into the proper device that I'm using. So in this case, I believe I'm using an iPhone X or an iPhone 11. That way I know sizing and kind of the spacing on this actual device size. So what I'll do is drop the transparency, the opacity, almost down to 40%. That way I can still see the design but be able to copy on top of it. So while I'm copying this, I start to see how they use typography, spacing, alignment, and sizing throughout the design to achieve the overall look and feel that they want to convey. And I also want to mention, you just start to get a better understanding of what is standard for different devices and screen sizes as well. As you can see, if you were to compare the real design of Airbnb to the one that I copied, they're very similar, almost exact, minus the icons. I get lazy sometimes, so I just don't do it. But other than that, I got the exact font, which I just found on their site by Googling what font Airbnb uses. So if you're copying a real product, you can just easily Google that online. If not, try to get as close as possible. In terms of time, this should take you less than an hour depending on how complicated the design is. The second way to improve your UI skills is by doing a UI redesign of a product, whether it's an app or a website. So how do you do this? I'll show you guys another example and walk you through the process. So before I choose a product, I quickly think about the types of products I enjoy working on or would like to work on in the future. This helps me to narrow down my options to choose from. So once I figure out an industry or a specific type of product that I want to work on, I'll do some Googling and find a product that could use some improvement to their interface. So in my example, I chose CRA, specifically the mail screen. And at the time, which was in October, I was on CRA quite often and just always thought to myself that this UI could be better. So that's why I chose CRA. Then what I'll do is take a screenshot of a particular screen from the product and upload it into Figma, or again, any design tool you use. So in this case, I wanted to focus on the mail inbox screen, which is what I did here, and took a screenshot and uploaded it into Figma. Before I start redesigning everything, I'll take around 5 minutes to write down the pain points of the current product, so it's easier for me to come up with a redesign that makes sense and that is intentional. I would say there's definitely some UX thinking in there, but for the most part, it's focusing on the UI. So in here, the pain points that I wanted to cover for this particular redesign were search options take up too much real estate, which they do at the very top left over here. There's this white space that could be utilized better on the right. The active and inactive states are not obvious. So what I mean by that is the read and unread status of the actual mail inbox. There's no overall amount of emails shown. And the last thing was that you can't search mail. So with these pain points in mind, I started to redesign my first version. So what I like to do is create a version 1 and then get some feedback from other designers and then create a final version. So getting feedback just helps with validating the decisions that you made, and it's also an opportunity to improve it from another perspective. So from my example, this is my version 1 of the redesign, and the feedback that I got were that the top nav bar white is weird, so this section here, there's no sort option there anymore, which there was in the previous design. Don't need selection box if it's only for delete. So if it's only for one action item, then it's not necessary to have. You don't need to say download for PDF because that's common sense. And the last one is to have a container for the mailbox. With the feedback that you get, you're more than welcome to apply all or some or none if you really don't agree with them to your final design. So in this case, I applied some. So basically for the navbar header, I did change it to just the one color. I also added in a sort by filter there beside the search bar. What else did I do? I also kept the selection box. I didn't take it out because I assumed there'd be more action items to this. So for example, other than deleting, you could maybe favorite or mark something unread. I also added a border for the elements on the screen, so like the search options card here and like the mailbox as well. I think this gives it a good distinguish between each of those elements. And then the last thing was I took out the download in the PDF text here. And after creating your final design, if you're proud of what you redesigned, you can always upload it into Dribbble or Behance to showcase your work. But in terms of how long I spend on these exercises, I would say keeping it under 4 hours would be ideal. This just helps you get better at being quick on your feet when coming up with the designs, which can really benefit you in a real job. So like in a real job, you'll sometimes be in a situation where you only have a couple of days to create a design, and these will really help you get better at that. So those are the 2 ways I like to improve my UI skills in a very quick and easy way. For both these methods, you're more than welcome to design out one screen. If you feel like copying a whole app design, you can do that, or want to redesign a whole product, you can do that as well. The great thing about these methods is the option to spend more or less time on them, depending on how you feel and what you want to get out of it. But if you guys enjoyed today's video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, and of course, hit the notification bell to see when I post next, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye guys!